Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee or Die. Today, we're going to be looking at the Hario V60. Now, this is probably one of the most recognizable and affordable conical drippers on the market today. But how did it become so successful? Hario was founded in Tokyo by a chemist in 1921. They made a variety of glassware for home and laboratory use, but it wasn't until 1949 that they started looking into coffee equipment, starting with a coffee siphon. Now later on in the 1950s, going through the 60s and 70s and 80s, there were prototypes which started leading towards the development of the Hario V60. However, we didn't start seeing the V60 we know today until 2005. But now let's take a closer look at the design of the V60. Now they wanted this in the shape of a V for Vendetta because they thought that Natalie Portman looked oddly attractive with a bald head. The 60 part comes from the Vector 60, which is the angle of the dripper itself. Hario designed this with a large single hole in the bottom, a hole that says "Fill me up, Daddy, I'm ready for it." This large single hole influences the speed at which water flows through our filter and into our cup. Now let's take a look at these rib spirals around the interior of the cone. The team at Hario wanted these to not only be ribbed for pleasure, but also planned how air channels and contact points manipulate drawdown times in extraction and filter coffee. As an added bonus, the V60 is also available in a few different materials. Of course, Hario has a glass version of this, but we also have a ceramic, plastic, and metal option, which come into play when we start getting deeper into thermal conductivity and extraction. Now the cheapest is probably the plastic V60. This is only around $11, durable, and would probably be the best choice for a new brewer who's just getting into pour-overs at home. So we've talked enough about the dripper. Now let's actually brew a fucking cup of coffee with it. Before we do that though, I would like you to go ahead and like and subscribe to Coffee or Die. This will make sure that you don't miss out on any wacky coffee adventures in the future. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is weigh out some coffee. I'm gonna be using a bag that we had on the exclusive coffee subscription called Caffeinate Mars. Tear our scale and we'll weigh out 15 grams. 15 grams weighed. And what we'll do is add a spritz of water. Now this is called the Roche droplet technique. We're gonna go over that in a future episode. Now grinding will begin at the lower end of medium. We'll go ahead and set this to about 500 to 600 micron using the Fellow O Gen 2, and then add our coffee directly to the hopper. Add our lid back on and we press start. Coffee's done grinding. Use the knocker on the side to get the rest of the residual coffee and the burrs down into our catch. Now let's start looking at our filter papers. Of course, Hario has proprietary V60 papers, but what I'm going to be using are specialty coffee filter papers from Sybaris. These are just a bit more porous, have faster drawdowns, and will allow me to get a little more clarity out of my cup. Do a little fold on the side, and then drop that into my conical dripper. Next step, rinse out your disgusting fucking filter paper. We do not want to taste paper in our cups of coffee. This also preheats our V60. Now, depending on which material you're using, this could be more or less important, but we do want to make sure we have thermal stability. Now let's dump our filter water. And because we're wanting to maintain the temperature of our equipment, we want to quickly add that coffee directly to our conical dripper. Tear our scale, add directly, just to double check and make sure that the amount of coffee we put through that grinder came out. We have exactly 15 grams in here, which is the exact amount I put through there. One thing I do like about this is it is magnetic on the bottom, so we simply slide this in and it snaps it back to center. Quite nice. So now that we've got our coffee in our dripper, let's start thinking a bit about bed prep. Now we can leave it mounted just like this, or we can give it a little shake to make it flat like your girlfriend. Or what we can do is get a glass stirring stick and create this little pocket in the center. All of these influence bed saturation during the first couple of pours, and I would love to see which methods you use and why in the comments below. Now my water is set to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to start by adding 45 mils of water and letting that sit for 40 seconds. This is what we refer to as bloom, and all it is allowing CO2 to escape from the bed of coffee in order to better extract solubles. I don't recommend allowing the bloom to last longer than 45 seconds as we start reaching diminishing returns. But next I'll add a 68 ml pulse pour. Then I'll break my last 2 pulses into measurements of 56 mils, bringing us to 225 mils at a 1:15 ratio. Now you can pour however you like. I just like to break mine up into pulses and allow the bed to drain a bit to bring out a bit more acidity in the coffee. Now after we've done our final pour, what I do is pick up the V60 and do a little swirl to knock all that coffee off the sidewall so that we have a nice flat bed at the end. The final result is going to be a cup that tastes great, one that you can feel confident knowing that you made yourself without any help. You're strong, disciplined, a man that your father-in-law might actually respect now. So take this knowledge, develop your own recipes, and start enjoying some great cups of coffee. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Coffee or Die.
So we know the Hario V60 has been around for a while, but how durable is it? Well, to find out, we've designed our very own Coffee or Die durability test. A timeless design, but unfortunately, the V60 does not hold up to this durability test.
Hario V60, clap. All right.
Rolling, whenever you're ready.